All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a 49er video. Man, Alex Smith went on with my good buddies Dan Dibley and Mark Willard on 95.7 The Game and talked a lot about Brock Purdy, and it was really, really good. So we're going to talk about that coming up next. But first, we are brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue you're going to find. Get the brisket chili. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. And we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check the link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, and they'll match you up to your first $100. All right. Alex Smith, who is, one of my favorite interviews because the guy really speaks the truth. He's a really smart former player. He's been everything, right? He was the rookie who didn't know anything. He became the veteran who knew everything. Then he suffered a terrible injury, leg injury, which cost him his career with the Washington Commanders. And now living in the Bay Area and enjoying his family. And I heard him on the radio with Willard and Dibbs talking a lot of football. And of course, the conversation got around to Brock Purdy. And it's just so awesome to listen to Alex Smith talk about Brock Purdy because he really does understand the full gamut of possibilities for a young quarterback starting their career. And he's got incredible respect for Brock Purdy because he knows how hard it is. And I'm going to let you listen to a little clip here, and then we'll come back and discuss it. Here is Alex Smith on 95.7 The Game with Mark Willard and Dan Dibley in Afternoon Drive.
To see what he's done, it honestly, it's the best story in the NFL, the best story in football, one of the best stories in sports, and it's the real deal. Brock is the real deal. I think for everybody out there trying to say he's a product of the situation, listen, is Kyle a great offensive coordinator? Of course. Are there great weapons there? Yes, but they're half the league you could say that about. Listen, you go into every, not just the main stats, but you go into the deep kind of, some of these more underlying stats for, accuracy, throwing under pressure with a defender in proximity of him, passing outside the pocket, throwing the ball downfield. I mean, Brock was number one in the NFL in about every category there was. This guy does it all, and then you just turn on the tape, and the eye test, he passes it as well. I mean, this guy I think plays with more courage in the NFL than about any quarterback. And that's saying a lot. I mean, he's not a big guy, but man, he stands in there, and that's something you just can't coach. I'm sorry, like you guys have it or they don't. You can look good in shorts and throw it all around the yard, but when you put the pads on and 350 pounders are bearing down on you, to have that kind of courage and stand in there and still have the poise and accuracy to keep his eyes downfield, again, it's just a really, really rare. And obviously, he can process and he can hit his spots. So man, he's going to be playing a long time at a high level. He's got that in him, and obviously, it's just so rare to have for a guy to have dropped that far in the draft. And, I think so many people just can't get over the fact that it doesn't add up for him, right? He's not 6'5". He's not throwing it 80 yards. Like, they don't have the measurables. They can't quantify it. But in the end, that's not what playing quarterback's all about anyway. And again, it's about accuracy and processing and toughness. And this guy has all those things. And so I certainly love contradicting. There's a lot of people out there that love to hate on him and knock him down. But man, it's he is the real deal, and incredibly happy for him. And it couldn't be to a better kid, man. This guy's as humble as they come and just has a great, quiet confidence about him.
All right, there you go. Alex Smith talking about a number of things, including Trent Williams and Brock Purdy and the Chiefs and the Niners. But let's talk about Purdy. Though I did think it was interesting that he said Trent Williams was a great leader, and he couldn't decide who he wanted to root for between the Niners and the Chiefs because he's got, real guys he played with Kansas City, and then of course Jed and the Niners were his, he was there for a long time, and he was the first pick in the draft. It's interesting. Alex was the first pick in the draft and had to learn everything. Brock is the last pick in the draft, and it seems all like so natural to him at such a young age. It's amazing. I mean, Brock Purdy is so much better than Alex Smith was at the same point, and we'll see if where it goes from here. And I would imagine Purdy's going to continue to get better. But a couple of the things that Alex said about Purdy really stood out. The first being that playing quarterback in the NFL is about three traits. You got to be accurate. You got to process what you see pre-snap at the line of scrimmage, and you got to be tough. I would add a fourth trait in there. You got to be accurate. You got to process what you see, and you got to be tough, and you got to be smart. And I guess the assumption is processing is a big part of that smarts. So that's kind of accurate, smart, and tough. He described it as accurate processing and toughness. And I think that's one and the same. It's one and the same. And the fact of the matter is, Brock Purdy's very accurate. The ball comes out on time with great accuracy on all three levels of the field. And then he can process what he sees, and he can set protections, and he can make it happen at the line of scrimmage. And he knows, where he's going 1, 2, and 3. He processes and goes through his progressions, and he is one tough son of a gun. And he will stand in there and take a big hit and wait for his receivers to, make a second move and work themselves open down the field. But then he'll throw it out there and he'll be accurate. He'll throw those 50-50 balls like all quarterbacks do that could be picks or could be great catches. He trusts his receivers, but ultimately it's accuracy, smarts, which is processing, and toughness. And then, Alex went on to say such a great balance of perspective and maturity. He's a great human being. He cares about his teammates. He does it the right way. Alex goes on to say that, I wasn't ready for my opportunity. This guy is ready for his opportunity. And he's clearly making the most of it. And, he went on to say that Brock is focused and goal driven. And it's funny then. So they asked him, hey, do you believe in Brock? And he says all these great things about him. And then they come back in the interview and they're like, well, is he an elite quarterback? Like, he just described for you an elite quarterback. I'm not ripping those guys, but I'm just saying people need to be told like 10 different times that Purdy's good before they believe it. Yeah, he's really good. He does this and that, and he's got perspective, and he's accurate, and he's mature, and he's this and that. Yeah, but is he really elite? And it's funny, they asked Smith in the middle of the interview that question. They're like, but is Brock elite? And when Alex realized where they were going and that they didn't really, that what he had, all the great things he had said about him earlier in the interview that it hadn't really registered. He's like, oh yeah, this guy's going to be good for a long time. And then Alex said something I thought was really interesting. He said, this guy has more courage in the pocket than any quarterback in the NFL currently. Now, that is a statement. Now, we know Brock's a really good athlete, very underrated, 1.54, 10-yard split. He can get away. But that, to me, from a guy like Smith who picks his words carefully and speaks for a living, Brock Purdy, in his mind, has more. Not only is he smart and process what he sees correctly at the line of scrimmage, not only is the ball come out on time and he plays on time and he throws the ball with accuracy, but according to Alex, this guy has more courage in the pocket and displays it than any quarterback in the NFL. And I just thought that really made my ears kind of perk up. That's saying something. So an incredible interview. I thought the guys did a really nice job with Alex Smith, and Alex is a great interview subject. But yeah, he came out and he said, you know what? This guy's going to be here for a long time. Get used to it. You know what I mean? And that was, it's funny. I think after the Super Bowl, I think most people who doubted Brock Purdy no longer doubt him, because on that stage with all that pressure, he played a really solid game against a really good Chiefs defense. They didn't win the Super Bowl. It wasn't because of Brock Purdy. He played well. And I think he's won over, I would say 99.9% of Niner fans. There's probably still a few out there like, he can't win the big one. But they're probably idiots, to be completely honest. But it is interesting listening to Alex Smith say being a quarterback in the NFL is about accuracy, processing, and toughness. And Brock Purdy has all three of those traits. And the toughness trait, according to Smith, he's the toughest quarterback in the league. So I don't know how then we know he's a really good athlete. We know he's smart and processes what he sees. We know he's a authentic, humble leader. The guys really like him. He's one of the guys. We know he's hardworking. We know he's driven. It's funny too, because I asked him a couple weeks ago at the presser. We hadn't talked to him this entire offseason, but we had just got our first opportunity to going into the draft. And I said, what's your takeaway from the Super Bowl? Because I hadn't talked to him in the post game of the Super Bowl. And he just immediately starts talking about how he could have played better. Didn't say anything about his teammates. It's like, I can play better. I want to play better. And then he says, matter of factly, the next time I'm in that game, I'll play better. And it wasn't like some guys are like, well, it was really hard to get there and the planets needed to align. And if we're lucky enough to get back there, if I'm fortunate enough to be in that game again, I feel like I'll play better because of this, this, and this. He kind of just arrogantly or confidently, whatever way you want to describe it. It's confidence sounds better than arrogance, huh? Arrogance is probably too much confidence. Confidence is good. Arrogance is bad. But he very confidently said, next time I'm in that game, I'm going to play better. Like, I'm going to be in that game again. I'm going to be in another Super Bowl. I'm going to lead this team to another Super Bowl appearance. And when I get that opportunity, I'm going to play better and I'm going to do more and we're going to win the game. And the way he said it with such confidence and such belief, it's like you really do believe like, oh yeah, this guy's going to play in a couple more Super Bowls because he truly does believe it. So the guy has tremendous confidence and, we know the Niners are thrilled to have him. But listening to Alex Smith today describe, the three traits of a great quarterback being accuracy, processing, and toughness, and then say that Brock is the toughest quarterback in the league in the pocket, really gives you an illustration of how lucky the 49ers are to have this young player. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. This video is also brought to you by our new sponsor, Aura. Now a word from Aura. Have you ever typed your name on the internet and seen all of your private information is online? Are you tired of receiving tons of spam calls from random numbers? Are you receiving more and more of these as time has gone on? Well, that's where Aura, the sponsor of today's show, can really help you out. Data brokers sell your information to scammers and spammers and anyone else who may want to target you. Your full name, your email, your home address, all your records, your health records, who your relatives are. It's all out there. That's why I've been using Aura. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it also protects me from hackers who could use the information to help them access my social media accounts, my bank accounts, or any other sensitive information. Aura also does so much more to protect me and my family from online threats I can't see. I get other features like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without having to download several different apps. It's really easy to set up. And best of all, I get everything at one affordable price. I value my privacy and I value yours. You can go to the link in the description to start your 2-week free trial. Thanks to Aura for sponsoring this video. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.